going to be quite something. Here we go, and we lead off with World 5.
Raikou, right on the money with that one. I'm going to call it right now here. I predict that at least one of these matches here, whether we go 2 or 3, at least one of them, the Great Equalizer is going to come into play, World 8.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because arbitrary pathing. That's what I was getting at before when I was saying one of these runs will be decided by something that's genuinely not the runner's fault, which is just World 8 pathing.
Yeah. We saw that, I think, in my match with Mitch. You know, I went one way, he went the other, both perfectly valid. He just turned out to be correct. You know, that happened.
Both runners getting through 2-2 without a problem, and looks like the tower is going to be required for game number 1.
The 2 forts are on the eastern side of the ground. The blue fort breaks the lock, and we there's only one pipe on the other side there, so that would suggest that's an ugly piranha setup, but you know, that would suggest that they may have to go down to break the lock, but we'll see what happens when they get out of the tower.
Yeah, I must say, that spiky piranha plant had some serious English on Macobra's side. Now I gotta watch out for... Oh, no!
Macobra, speaking of English, the Karibo shoe took him down, and going the pipe in 5/8 location will be required.
And it looks like this is going to be one of the longer World 5s that we can see from the randomizer, where it can require you to go up to the sky, back down to get to the fort, and then back up to the sky to get to the castle. Yeah. Now, Macobra, after taking that death at the very end of the stage, really needs to keep his cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because we saw that in the match against Mitch Flower Power. He took some very untimely deaths, and he can't be doing that against a runner like Classic Gamer.
Yeah. Well, or regardless of who it is at this stage, you know, mistakes are not going to be plentiful here, and we got 2-3. This will be the... After this, he's going to take the pipe down and going to take care of things there. So we got 5-4 and 2-3 right now. So we got a 1-stage difference.
Especially not with a death like that on Macobra's side.
Oh man, Macobra got lucky there, just dodging the sun.
That is something. That's a very, very tight window there. But man, he gets away with that. Like,
the sun hitboxes are strange, to say the least.
Yeah, so we got this is not pretty. So that's a death from a Macobra with the hammer bro.
I don't care who you are there. Yeah, that's a tough screen for anybody to maneuver.
2 early deaths from a Macobra, but there's still a 1-stage difference between the runners right now. Classic in the lead. The mushroom, Macobra's probably going to use that right away because he's been playing with his arm tied behind his back, and we get Fort Knox, aka 7F1. And,
well, at least this might actually allow Classic to pad his lead a bit, because Macobra being small is going to need to pick up an additional power-up, and this is a significant detour.
Yeah. This is not good.
No, it's definitely not ideal on Macobra's side. Again, still early in this race here. We're only in World 1, so anything could still happen as Macobra will get his fill of coins. He'll get his Tanuki suit as well. But yeah, right now, Classic Game with the early lead.
Yeah. You know, again, we got a lot of game left to be played. And depending on how this breaks, we saw, I think, in Game 1 between GamerCal and Mitch, Hammer Bros actually played a significant role. I think in both games to an extent, but I think Game 1 was a little more pronounced. But you know, I think generally speaking, they're going to go out of their way to avoid Hammer Brothers, just because it's, you know, a 15 to 20 second time sink for no guarantee. But Classic, we got a thick Roy in the World 4 airship.
2 hits is not. Oh, the wonky hitbox. No, that was not. That was him turning into a statue for a brief second. He certainly fooled me. Nice swipe points there. And we had the beefy 5 HP Earthquake variety of Roy.
So, and Macobra picks up a cloud. That could be very beneficial to him. He might actually use it right here. Oh, he's going to play 2-3. 506 wand grab for Classic Gamer. Macobra's in 2-3 right now. So, get out your commands if you haven't already.
Oh, absolutely. Here, the old famous Dragon Warrior phrase, when you run into an enemy in the overworld or in the dungeons or wherever, our item is a music box, which could come in handy in World 7.
We got World 3 now, and leading off is 4-6. Popular level for our friend Boss Bass to show up in, though not today.
We may actually see Macobra be slightly more inclined to take items, because with those 2 deaths, especially that terrible one in the tower, he may be more inclined that he thinks he needs to get lucky and find a hammer for say, World 2 to be able to catch up. Because although hammers do not break locks, there are some very good spots to use hammers, such as double hammering through 3, hammering either rock in World 2 saves a significant amount of time, typically.
Unfortunately, Macobra.
Oh no!
And
Roy stops him in his tracks right there. That's brutal.
Yeah, I think chat may have it right. I think he is a little frazzled. Those early deaths are, I think, starting to pile up on him mentally, and that happens.
He's got to be tilted by now.
I would think so. I mean, it happens to the best of us. I mean, it's happened to me a couple of times in this tournament. It's one of those things where you just kind of need, if you can just get like a good string going, you can usually wash away a lot of that. But you kind of have to run with it as best you can. So there's Cobra's finally done with Roy, but those deaths are going to hurt him early.
Meanwhile, Classic finding that second fortress in World 3 is indeed required.
Gee, Raikou, who didn't see that coming? I always see a lock there.
Yeah.
That's something that you need to pay attention to when you're going through these worlds, is keep track of that lock count. Because if you see most of the world map and you do not see that lock, that actually makes me more inclined to go track down forts, especially in World 7. Because in World 7, and to a lesser extent, even World 6, you can eat up a surprising amount of time just checking all the pipes.
Yeah. And it's also one of those things where, that kind of awareness really can pay enormous dividends, and certainly we saw some of that in Cal and Mitch's match. They saw what was going on around them, and they were able to take advantage, and they made some very astute plays as a result. So, Classic finishing off 6-2. Auto-scroller turned off. Macobra's in 2-4.
Yep, the spike for it here. And by the way, we did see on Classic Gamer side one of the 3-hand stages. It was the coin stage. And we have the vanilla item. All 3 are going to be leafs.
Yeah.
That's not a bad item. I'm sure Classic won't like it just because Leaf is a little bit slower. But being able to have that additional time to react to hazards can be very, very nice.
Yeah, and we got a music box there off the coin ship. We have our first beta stage. Those music boxes, given the way everyone's been nicely done there, have tended to play the bracket flags of late. It's actually interesting that the music box actually gains extra value as a result because people are ignoring the Hammer Bros. And Macobra is actually going the other way, which is perfectly valid. I
believe it's the same number of stages either way.
Yeah, and he has the added benefit, I suppose, of not having to do another pipe transport, so that's good.
And Macobra's able to get through Boss Bass here in 7-2. Classic Gamer in 3F2 here, just about ready to wrap things up there.
I've been really, really impressed with Classic's play so far. I don't think I've actually seen him make any real mistakes.
He's been clean so far early on here in the 10-minute mark. If he keeps that up, he's going to take that 1-0 lead.
Yeah. And I don't think it's wrong to say his play has been solid, but not on the par with what we know he is capable of. I think Game 2 of the semis was when he finally hit the afterburners and really put in something very impressive. But even then, there were still there were 1 or 2 uncharacteristic mistakes, but right now, yeah, he's very on point as he goes to the World 7 airship.
Yep, it's time to find out how many Baconators Wendy had for the Grand Championship battle. We already saw a beefy 5-hit Roy Koopa. Let's see what Wendy has in store for Classic.
Johnson around like a boxer, but Classic keeping her in check. Ooh, he gets hit by
Careful!
Baconator.
Hit her. Yeah, she's got a few Baconators in her body. She put up a good fight, but Classic Gamer survives.
11:01 for Classic. Macobra just finished off the 2 Boomerang Bros in the coin ship.
So at this point, Classic has built, I would say, about a 2.5 stage lead.
Give or take, yeah. Macobra's in the lost state.
Nice. Macobra also with the dodge under that fire snake. So we're seeing some swag moves for both of our runners here in that World 5 beta.
Now we're in World 6, and we already see a lock and a pipe, so this is going to be good early intelligence. What are we getting as far as the map? Okay.
Oh, swing and a miss. So this looks like it's going to be quite a long World 6.
Yeah, we haven't seen any forts yet either. We didn't see any on the first map, and we didn't see any in the second map, so that's interesting. That suggests we could be in for kind of a choke point with the middle. It's just going to be a question of what they find and when. And
we also have not seen any hammers yet.
We have not, and hammers could play a role here, but again, we don't know what the second part of the map contains. We've seen 3 pipes for sure. We don't know about the other. We don't know about that 4th pipe. Okay, there's 2 forts.
Oh, look out, Classic Gamer. Good thing he had that star equipped.
Hey,
gets a refund.
As we've seen a lot during the tournament, use a star, get a star.
Okay, so we've got a lock, and we've got a lock, a bridge, and 2 forts. He's playing the fort in the 6-4 location, which is 8 fort. So that's actually good. If it were 1 fort, I think he would have taken he might have taken an intentional death, I think. Well, maybe not, but he probably would have given it some thought.
Macobra
having
here.
A little bit of trouble.
Okay, he should be...
One more hit, and got her!
Got there. Well done.
Classic getting the 1 cycle on, in the 8 fort, and got it hit, and got through it without damageless, which is even more impressive.
Until you have attempted to 1 cycle that P-switch in 8F, you have no clue how difficult it is to do that. And based on the map...
thing in the world, and here's the second hand stage. This one is the Hammer Brothers Party Mix.
Yeah, so I'm a little... Well, okay, I get... This isn't going to be a major time loss. I'm a little surprised he didn't go back just to take a look, but he'll get his free look now after a 25-second stage, so it's a moot point. See, and okay, it didn't create the bridge, but Classic's just going to carry on. This gives Macobra a chance. If he goes for the other fort, that might be what he needs. We'll see. We know that the... Ooh, he's got an ugly 7-9 here.
7-9 is one of those stages that the randomizer isn't particularly kind, because due to the density of enemy placements in this stage, it's very easy to hit the sprite limit. And if you hit the sprite limit, you aren't able to pick up ice blocks, because as soon as you grab one, it takes up a sprite slot in the game's sprite memory.
Mm-hmm. So
Not to mention we have Angry Sun as well.
The sun isn't a big deal with all these ice blocks.
Yeah.
I would be more scared of a big fish.
Yeah. Cobra getting double fire, bro, and takes care of business.
Nice moves there to take them both down, not taking any damage and getting a 1-up in the process. Classic Gamer done with 7-9.
Cobra is going to play the top fort, and it's 4F2. So
if this fort is correct, that could allow Macobra to do a little bit of catch-up work, because Classic will need to go all the way back across the world map, and it's the longest map in the game, being World 6.
Right.
So that can... That's almost an entire stage's worth of map movement.
Maybe, yeah. And so Classic, though, getting a decent set of levels. He just ran through the waterfall loss level. Okay, there goes the lock. Move point. Macobra played a needless stage, unfortunately.
That's too bad. Everything is just coming up Classic this seed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes you just have randomizer races like that. You do everything right, but it's just one of those situations where everything comes up this one runner, and Macobra might just have to shake this off and hope for Game 2 to be better.
Yeah, so Classic rams his way through 7-3, and Cobra's in 8 fort. This has been a long seed so far. We're at 16 minutes, and we are still in World 3, and we've seen, 5, 3, and 6. So we've seen 3 of the longer worlds, but nonetheless, this has not been some of the quick seeds we've seen in some of the other races in the bracket stages.
Oh, and speaking of fish, where's my Eternal Drought card for Classic screen?
Ooh, Classic Gamer just squeaking by Boss Bass there, and Macobra was able to get the 1 cycle on the World 8 fort there, so good moves there from him, too.
Yeah, Macobra went back, saw that it's valueless, and is going to just have to soldier on through. He's going to probably be inclined to use that cloud at some point, just to get himself some breathing room. Classic's in the World 1 airship.
Alright, time for these runners to let me have it! Lemmy Koopa awaits. Let's see how many hits he takes. Ooh, 3. Ooh, he's a jumbo shrimp.
I love cornering Lemmy. Oh, thick Lemmy, too.
5 hits. Yikes.
I'll tell you what, Bowser has fed his Koopa kids here. We've had a 5-hitter Roy, a 4-hitter Wendy, and now a 5-hitter Lemmy.
About a 1708 wand grab for Classic as he continues his torrid pace through the seed. Macobra just finished the first hand stage. Cobra's continuing to play Hammer Bros, and fortunately he's not getting he's gotten a decent set of items, but not what he needs. He gets
I definitely agree with Macobra playing Hammer Brothers here, because Macobra has taken a lot of deaths and has to feel behind. So sometimes you have to realize that once you've made enough mistakes, there's no way you're going to beat your opponent in a straight competition.
Right.
So when you start playing Hammer Brothers like this, it's a Hail Mary situation, but if it's your only play, it's your only play. Right.
Macobra and Classic in World 7 plays the fort immediately available to him, which is a good idea. Gets super tanks.
Yep, no problem there for Classic Gamer. He'll check this pipe, hoping it takes him to the promised land, and it does, but you need a bridge. Not going to be so easy.
But there are a lot of pipes on this map. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pipes, so that island is pretty likely to take you where you need to go to find the other fortress. Yeah. I still don't think it's a terrible idea to play fortresses early, especially in World 7.
No.
Because you can spend a surprising amount of time going through pipes, and everybody forgets how pipe logic works in World 7 from time to time.
Right.
They call it the pipe maze for a reason.
And on top of that, if it's readily accessible, do it. You know, especially if there's like another lock or something nearby. If it doesn't break, then you validated your play basically by default. Classic sees pipe number 1, takes him into a dead end, so he'll circle back. Pipe number 2. Okay, that is also a dead end.
Well, so far, 2 pipes, 2 zonks.
Classic's gotta be like, what is this? Wouldn't it be something if it's the other pipe? No? Okay.
No,
well,
that gives him a couple more options, though.
Cobra is going to play the Ford, and it's 6F3.
There it is, and it looks like that was the only way to get there as well.
Could
Wow. We have 5F1 now on Classic Gamer side. Macobra dealing with the carpet Ford here, 6F3.
be. A little surprised you played the Ford. It's usually you play the level rather than the Ford, because Fords are generally longer.
Well, he's probably banking on the fact that there's probably a bridge or a lock tied to this fort. We know that is not the case, as Classic Gamer didn't play 6F3.
Right, it's a bridge, but it's a moot point because he's already at the end anyways. But, so he's still about a half a world behind. He's over 3 minutes behind. So, he's had a rough go of it. Classic doing a good job using his,
music boxes there to put the Piranha stages to sleep there. Yeah, that was a great move there. I mean, this is the big stage that you're going to use him on. Why not here? He doesn't need the items. He's just going to go full mode into the World 6 airship.
and
Neither one of these runners need items.
right. So the Classic is almost finished with World 4. We're at the 21-minute mark, and again, this is pretty long for a bracket stage seed. Runners
Oh,
are just
absolutely.
like, if you're at 21 minutes, that's not great. And we still got Worlds 1, 2, and 4 left. And remember, we have seen nary a hammer. And hammers can play a role in 2 and 4.
Oh my gosh! Another 5-hit Koopa! Ludwig von Koopa taking 5 hits to go down. Bowser is not messing around here for the championship.
This is exactly what you want to see in the finals. The finals, ideally in any kind of randomizer tournament, you want to see the top 2 players in the tournament be thrown just the cruelest seed. And although not exactly having boss bass everywhere, but the Koopa Kid fights have certainly delivered in that matter.
Yeah, Macobra's just finished off Super Tanks, so now Classic gets a linear draw to the pipe in World 4, and okay, it's interesting.
If that pipe takes Macobra to the left-hand side, he could actually gain some time, but it does not. Well, these two might.
Okay, he bailed himself out on that one, so he's actually going to get some time back, but it's still a long way off.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was what Macobra needed right there. Oh, and there's a hammer!
Classic's all set for World 2 if needed. He won't need it in World 4 because of the way the map is set up, and we got 6F1.
And Macobra finds a hammer!
Holy smokes! So, Classic skipped... Wow!
This is what I was talking about earlier coming into play, where Macobra thinks he's behind, taking extra item stages on the off chance that something is a hammer, and this could wind up paying off for him.
It might, but it's unlikely. Unless he still needs some help here. Oh, and
that does not help.
That does not help at all.
The hammer would have really paid off if World 3 were still in play. Unfortunately, it's gone, so a lot of its potential utility has been taken out.
I actually think there's only one more hammer that could be...
Yeah, World 2 is the only other world where it can pay off, and that's not even 100% guarantee. If the pipes are linked to both sides of the map, it's almost irrelevant.
Great 6F2 fly by Classic.
That was a very good fly. And get this, that means we are not going to see a World 6 fort in World 8 for once. How about them apples?
Yeah, that's a switch, isn't it? Cobra is on his way to the end of World 7, taking a bit of a kind of a long route, but it still works. Classic's almost finished with World 4.
Right, because remember, Macobra doesn't know about the other way to get to that set of pipes, so, I mean, you can't blame him for taking the long way.
Right.
Now, playing this one, I disagree with, because you already have a hammer.
But you know what we haven't seen yet? Well, that was I don't think we've seen a P-wing, but
Nice clip.
Nice clip. I was gonna say, we haven't seen a Hammer Brothers suit yet, and that would have really helped Macobra potentially in the Bowser fight.
That doesn't save near as much time as a hammer potentially can, though. And
No, that's true, but you want to certainly get your. And there's still places to use those hammer those music boxes. We also skipped the part where we had a one-hit Iggy. So one of the.
Oh no, Macobra lost P-wing, so we will not see the P-wing clip. And at this point, we have Classic an entire world ahead. Everything just turning up his. Look at this! Look at this!
Wow! Don't even need the hammer. So any benefit the Macobra could have gotten out of that hammer is gone.
Right, Classic.
That's too bad.
Ooh.
Like, Classic has not only played better. He's not only played better than Macobra in this race, but he's also been getting luckier.
That's the first death Classic Gamers had all match.
Yeah.
Yes, but that death also cost him less time than any of the deaths that Macobra has taken.
Right, you are, Raikou.
So, well, sure, like Classic's gonna go a little swaggy here with the frog suit going to 4F1.
This does not surprise me.
Nah, there was no chance. That Hotfoot was not going to give him any route to keep that frog suit.
Four F1, there's another hammer from Macobra. He's like, well, that's not... So,
he does not need that.
Macobra is going to follow Classic's route, and that's going to hurt him. That's going to put him even farther behind than he already is.
Classic Gamer did do 6F1, and yeah, I mean, you can't fault Macobra for making this play. I mean, it's the route that I think 9 runners out of 10 would make in this situation.
Yeah, it is a coin flip. I guess it just depends on which one, because you see but given that both forts are readily accessible, it is a kind of a coin flip. 2701 for Classic, finishing off World 6, so World 1 will be last.
And Morton Koopa was not very salty either, just a 2-hitter. So our last 2 Koopalings going down in 1 and 2 hits respectively. So a little bit of disappointment there, Bowser.
Cobra running through 6F2.
Nice 6F2 fly from Macobra as well. Well done by both of these runners.
Yeah.
But really, did you expect anything else?
Ooh, a nasty World 1. They gotta play 2 levels just to get to the 4th. That's not fun.
This will be nearly a full clear.
Pretty close, yeah.
I think they'll have to play all but 1 or 2 stages.
Yeah, 2 stages will be out of play, but and well, actually, they don't even have to play the 4th. The lock is not required. Finish. So I'm betting it's 1 fort.
Right, we haven't seen that. And for those of you unaware, the very first fortress in the game, because it has an item, there are restrictions on where that can be. If you see a fortress that does not have a lock that is required to complete the world, those locations are where that fortress can be.
Right. Yeah, it's logic assumes you were going for the item. Always. So, that said, there are scenarios where grabbing the item is a bad thing.
Next up, 5-7 for Classic Gamer as Macobra done with World 5.
He's still about 4 minutes behind going into World 2. But Classic is not going to check the 40. He's just going to play on 5-7. Nicely done.
Cobra's going to take this pipe, and he's going to find out how disappointed he is that hammer, those 2 hammers he picked up, useless.
Yeah. I think he had probably assumed that by now anyways, and... Oh, Macobra died to the same hammer bro as Classic did.
Yep, the exact same one. And that's just a tough break here as Classic Gamers now here in 3-9.
Those desert double hammer bros are just terrible.
Yeah.
No matter what way you slice it, they're just terrible.
It's dodging of the hotfoots there from Macobra there, but he's just going to plow through this thwomp and jump over that one. So some nifty moves there from Macobra here in 4F1. Nice!
Some great moves from both of them, really. In their respective stages.
Classic with a cloud left. You actually used his hammer. I was a little surprised by that. And anchor, so that's out. Cobra still has a cloud left, but there's a
Wait a minute,
star.
did you say Classic used his hammer?
I'm sorry, he used his anchor. Excuse me. He used his anchor.
Yeah.
Going for a quick power-up. Cobra still haven't had trouble with his Koopa kids. He's taken a lot more damage than you would expect. Jumps haven't been quite on point. 30-29 for Macobra, so he's gaining a little time, but it might be a little too late. World 8 routing has got to be absolutely schizophrenic for Cobra to make a run here.
Yeah, Macobra's going to have to be absolutely perfect, and Classic Gamer is going to have to take the worst routing in the world for Macobra to even have a chance.
Even then, it's not enough because that World 1 was very long. So arguably, I think this is Classic's race to lose.
No question about it.
Yeah, this is all Classic right now, but Cobra just started World 1 here, so we've got to go through 5. We'll play 4 levels, and then the fort, and then the castle. So there you go.
And the frog suit is the last item from Peach here, as we do move on to World 8 with a lock off the bat.
Yeah, and
that's something you want to see.
Okay, so we've got Air Force right there, and it's 7F2, Piranha, aka Piranha Fort.
AKA, I can't even say it, it's so funny. Send it back! The Send It Back Fort.
I believe this is actually Classic's favorite level.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, Raikou Rider here, but he does take some damage here. Luckily, there was a mushroom behind that power-up.
So, nicely done by Classic through the opening room of 7F2. Classic's going to just barrel through here.
Given the quantity of items in his inventory, I agree with this play.
5-7. Classic doesn't have too many items, though. He's only got like 3 or 4 items, so he's got to be a little careful. Okay, breaks the lock in the bottom left. Classic gets 1-5 beta as hangs. He's going to take an intentional death there.
Yep, he knows that is not going to unlock anything. Of course, he may need it later if that ship requires a lock or a bridge. We're still trying to find out where Bowser's castle is.
That's why I was a little surprised he didn't actually just play it through. Okay, now he knows. Now we know what pipe takes us to the end, and it could very well be this could be the gatekeeper, 3F1, aka Door 6 Fort.
Yes, indeed. So if this fort indeed builds the bridge here, Classic Gamer is going to be set to go, and he's going to take home game number 1 of this best of 3 championship.
A little disappointed in the lack of Door 3 swag, but
Yeah.
Do you blame him in the finals?
No showboating. No showboating.
Survey says
nope.
No.
I bet it's the one behind the lock at the very beginning. That was Super Tank, so I bet that's the one.
Looks like he might check that one.
I think that's a good play.
We haven't seen the hand bridge yet, and oh, it looks like the hand bridge is what that unlocked.
Could be.
But I think at this point, the 1-5 beta is the way to go.
I think you're right. I think that's exactly what it's going to have to be.
If it's not the fort direct, if this one does not unlock the fort direct that takes you directly to Bowser, it's just one of those 100% World 8s.
I think so. And this could end up being some situation with a hand stage. What's Classic's hand luck going to be like?
True, and if Macobra has perfect luck and Classic has the worst luck in the world, this may not be over yet, as we do have the Air Force here now.
Air Force is Small Mario, not exactly 3 days at Disneyland, but perfectly manageable for something like Classic.
So we'll see what Macobra goes for.
Alright, so we've got Cobra on his way in. He's still about 3 minutes behind. Macobra is doing some overworld checks. He skipped Air Force, and that might end up being a mistake. Okay.
We'll find out if that is a mistake or not. And Macobra is going to go to the fort, and unfortunately, he's going to see the bad news. Well, no, it's not going to cost him any time, but he's going to see that, unfortunately, that fort is not going to build the bridge.
And
but
it
Classic
was Navy. Navy is the winner, so Classic has everything he needs to finish this off in style.
Yep, he's got the fire suit, so he can do the fireball kill a Bowser. And how many fireballs is it? What is it, 35?
35.
35.
Cobra, very disappointed, I'm sure, to see that that isn't it. So we'll see how long it takes him. He's going to play Air Force, which is required based on what we've seen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's Bowser. Classic Gamer just has a few more fireballs left to go, and got him!
Very nice fire kill.
Yeah, very nicely done by Classic Gamer, who takes Game 1 of the Grand Finals over Macobra52.
I must say, Macobra didn't play badly, you know, deaths aside, but Classic Gamer was nearly flawless in that race.
And that's to be expected from someone like him. And just to put this into perspective, I don't think there are a lot of people in this tournament that could sub 40 this seed. This was not a very friendly seed.
No,
not a chance.
It was long, and Macobra was going full speed. He knows he's already lost, but now he's actually making well, this isn't going to hurt him too much, anyways. But
yeah, Macobra, you know, if. That's one of those deaths. You know how sometimes in Randomizer a death can reroute you in the right direction? Well, in this case, it's going to route Macobra in the wrong direction.
Well, it's not going to route him anywhere because it's all pretty forced, actually.
So now he's going to use the frog suit, same as Classic Gamer did.
Yeah. So, yeah, those early deaths, unfortunately for Macobra, really put him in the box, and he never really got out, and it made him take some plays that I think he wouldn't have otherwise.
I agree.
Absolutely. I mean, Macobra did have the one kind of catch-up on the World 7, the pipe maze. It was a little bit faster than Classic Gamers, but yeah, in the end, those early deaths just put him in a deficit he just could not overcome.
Right, so he's going to play, I think he's going to play Navy, yep.
Not even just that, but it also puts you in this state mentally where you're going to play the seed a lot riskier than you normally would, and that will cause you to fall even further behind.
Right. Yeah, it is kind of a double-edged play, and Macobra is an extremely accomplished player, but he's not really the kind of player who does a lot of risky things. He's a very solid fundamental player. He kind of has his routines and he has his methods, and he really generally sticks to them, I think. Classic is, I think, a more risk type of player in that respect. He likes to go for gambles. He likes to go for clips. He really likes to push the game to the edge.
It's just two different play styles. Macobra is going to make it, generally speaking, farther in tournaments that way, but unless you take risks like Classic does, you're not going to take home a title just by the very nature of this randomizer.
Right. Macobra, he's going to go for the gusto here. He's going to go for frog strats against Bowser, but he falls off and loses his frog suit.
Keeping a frog suit through Bowser's castle is actually incredibly difficult.
Yeah. Oh, okay, well, he gets a star, so no substitute fire kill there.
And the only other thing he could have done was take the bottom path, because there is a power. There is a chance he could have gotten a fire flower there, but again, at this point it is moot.
Yeah. So he's gonna just take care of Bowser with a couple of a little bit of swag there, bouncing off his head.
I didn't even know you could do that. I mean, I know the head is the only part of his hitbox, but how's he doing this?
So Macobra just about done here. More jumps.
At this point, one more ground pound, and we will have turtle soup to go. Get your GGs out for Macobra.
Macobra doing a little, I don't know what kind of dance that is. I don't think it's a happy dance, though.
I think it's a frustration dance. If you've ever watched Link to the Past Randomizer and see people frustration slashes, frustration bombs, frustration medallions, I think that's what that was. I think it was a frustration dance.
Yeah.
And the difference ended up being about 4 minutes. What are the official times?
36:31 for ClassicGamer88, 40:26 for Macobra52. So yeah, and it was 2 minutes after the first world, and it just kind of snowballed a little from there. Classic again, ignoring most of the Hammer Bros in the mid game, gave him the extra time, and it just really kind of torpedoed Macobra, unfortunately. So we will. All right, well, it's unfortunate, but Macobra says in his comment, "Karibos are so annoying." Yeah, that's where things went wrong.
Yeah, Karibo's shoe has a very, very unusual hitbox, to say the least.
Right. So while we wait, give these runners a follow. Come on, this is the championship.
Absolutely. I mean, they are 14-1 coming into this, and they have gotten to this stage for a reason. They are the two best players in the field taking down the competition. I mean, yeah. Macobra, I think he routed very well. I just think in game number 2, he's got to play it more. He's got to be more. He's got to be playing. He's got to be more solid in his gameplay here. He cannot be taking costly deaths like that.
No.
If he can play more cleanly in game number 2, I think we're gonna have a dogfight into the second match.
I absolutely agree, because Macobra actually routed better than Classic, and that's actually Macobra's advantage in this matchup, is because his gameplay is more traditional, and he has the routing for this down to a science.
Yeah.
If both of these runners execute, Macobra is going to win, but Classic's execution is just pristine.
Right.
Absolutely pristine.
Yeah, again, he only took 2 deaths, one of them being intentional, and the other one was just a tough situation that you could have put a lot of runners in there, and they would have had a tough time getting through those Hammer Brothers. But yeah, Classic Gamer plays the way he played in game number 2. It's going to really put the pressure on Macobra to play cleanly.
Yeah. Yeah. And to say nothing of Classic skills, his skills in vanilla are well documented, but for sure, Macobra is no mean player himself. His Warpless time is really improved. He's down to, I think, 54 minutes. So he's no slouch at the vanilla game, and he's certainly learned a lot from that and has applied those skills very nicely into Randomizer, which is not exactly the easiest thing to do, because running Randomizer is completely different than running vanilla.
That's a great point, and I would actually argue that being good to great at Super Mario Bros. 3 Vanilla will make your Randomizer skills a lot better, but being top tier at Vanilla SMB3 actually hinders your ability to play Randomizer at the highest level.
To a point. As with anything else, we have some exceptionally skilled players of the vanilla game who run the randomizer. Like Booba's extremely good, Classic's extremely good, Mitch's extremely good, Macobra's extremely good. The Hacksaw is very, very good.
Just the field for this tournament has been absolutely incredible, and not even just these two runners, but every single runner who made brackets is a runner you cannot write off.
No. All right. So
it looks like we are getting set up, just waiting on a dealer here.
Yeah, we've got the seed. It's just gonna take us a minute to get everything situated. Let's see. All right, get your predictions in for the first world, chat. I'm gonna say world 3.
I'm gonna go with 7 this time.
7?
I think if this is potentially the last race of the entire tournament, what better way to end it off than to start with a Fred? 1.
All right.
I wouldn't mind that either. But I'm gonna stick with 7.
Sounds like a plan to me. So this is game number 2 of the best of 3 championship match between ClassicGamer88 and Macobra52. Classic Gamer up 1-0. If he wins game number 2, he takes home the 2019 Randomizer Tournament Championship.
All right.
So funny thing about that last seed, we didn't see any Hammer Brothers suits. We didn't see any Tanuki suits either. Obviously, of course, these runners don't go for the items as much now that we're in these latter stages of the game, but I got a feeling we're going to see at least one Hammer Brothers suit here in this second match.
I would like to see that because it's so satisfying seeing the quick kill on Bowser. A hammer suit saves, I want to say, about 10 to 15 seconds over a fire kill and 30 seconds over a ground pound kill. It's very big. And with the runners as skilled as they are, that can make the difference between winning and losing a race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, alright. So runners are more or less ready here. Getting a few things adjusted on our end before we move on into game 2.
I don't know about you, but I want to see this second seed, or if necessary, this third seed, be just cruel and unusual to both of these runners.
Mm-hmm. Alright, I think we're all set here, so we're gonna drop the flag and get these guys going. Get your predictions in as soon as and yes, there will be weeklies after this tournament is over. When I'm not exactly sure. I think we'll be trying some different things as far as they're concerned, but insofar as when they happen and how they happen, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really given it that much thought, but you know, the community will see to it that they continue. So runners are ready, so we should be getting going in the next minute or so.